So my girlfriend, she drives as a legal person. She chooses that right now. She's in the process of deciding what she's going to keep in her legal person and what she's not. She issued her payment for her driver's license in the beginning of September by a check form. SAAQ, they never processed it. It hadn't been processed yet. On the 13th of September, I called SAAQ and I said, hey, why haven't you taken the payment yet? It was due on the 6th of September. They said, oh, well, don't worry about it. You've got 30 days before we send you an official notice and we cancel her privileges to drive. If within those 30 days a check doesn't get cleared or we don't find her, if it got lost in the mail, we'll let you know. So we never received any notice. My girlfriend continued to drive. We were thinking the check had cleared or was in the process of being cleared. On the 21st of the same month of September, my girlfriend gets pulled over by one of those regulators here in Chateauguay. Remember I told you that there was 4 now instead of 1? They put a 300% increase of them on the road just specifically for highway traffic code. One of them pulled her over, and unbeknownst to us, her license, the payment hadn't gone through yet, even though we had issued the payment hadn't been processed on the part of the SAAQ. So the police officer then proceeded to issue a ticket to my girlfriend for not having a valid driver's license. That's what he said. He made the declaration there that she didn't have a valid driver's license. Now the process of that is that if the SAAQ officially suspends your privileges upon your driver's license, they'll make a judgment in their offices and they'll send you a notice of determination addressed to your legal person with a date on it. At that point, that is when your driver's privilege is suspended. As far as we were concerned, we had issued a payment and we were just waiting for it to be processed. When she came home, she showed me what had happened, and she explained to me what had happened. She didn't try to invoke her free man rights. I asked her why. She told me she was nervous. It's the first time that she has dealt with police. We've never broken laws in any way, so it's the first time she was ever pulled over by the police officers. So she admitted she was nervous. I said there was no reason, but that's okay. Most people are nervous. They're intimidated by the uniform and by guns and stuff like that. So back to what's going on. So she came in here. I took the ticket. I wrote no consent, no contract. I sent it back to the officer, and I told him, listen, here's the situation. We thought that the payment had been processed. It hadn't been processed. We called the SAAQ. They said it still hadn't been processed. So we decided to cancel the check, went to the bank, made a stop payment, and went and paid it physically at the SAAQ office. Sent it to the officer and said, we're not accepting this. We're not making a plea of guilty or not guilty. It was an internal process problem. There was something that happened with your party, not our party. So it's not our fault. Didn't hear nothing back from the cop. So 30 days later, that's when the city, the mayor's office of the city, sent this information, as you saw, to my girlfriend, or as you're going to see. So my girlfriend received a summons from Ville de Mercier. It's a summons requesting her, or advising her. If you see, this is to advise you that the case mentioned above is set for hearing before the municipal court. Now, the police officer who gave her this ticket, you check it off, who he says he's working for, Ville de Mercier. So you got Ville de Mercier, a cop working for Ville de Mercier, and a judge working for Ville de Mercier. All 3 of them are requesting my girlfriend and advising her to attend a court hearing or a court trial for an infraction ticket. And they're claiming that if my girlfriend shows up to this court hearing or trial, that she will be granted a fair and an impartial trial. I contest that fact. Jurisdiction de la Cour municipale. The Cour municipale de Chateauguay, you see that? Elle a juridiction sur le territoire de Chateauguay. Mercier. See? Mercier. Now look at these wordings. If you fail to report or be represented by a lawyer for the trial at a specific date, the proceedings may allow you to be tried and judgment to be rendered by default. Now, Vicky Jean, court of the clerk, she signed the order for Ville de Mercier. Puis à la remise. So when he gave back the driver's license, now he quotes that my girlfriend said, "I've got the right to travel with my car. My husband, question mark, is a lawyer, and told me I have the right. So I'm not told, so you tell me I've got the right." That was his testimony. The one who gave the ticket, the cop. So I wrote a letter, a notice, and I'm going to go to the courthouse with my girlfriend and deliver it to the court clerk, Vicky Jean. And I said, "Notice of clarification and discharge." It says, "I received a notice from you. Before I can properly respond to this notice, I'm seeking some clarification from you, since it is you who assigned this valuable instrument of security called notice of hearing, because they make money when they hold hearings. I did not sign any instrument of security, or any bill of exchanges, or make any type of plea. Will you please provide proof of such claim, for your notice states on the reverse section in box A that further to my plea of not guilty, I am receiving a notice. 2. You state that this letter is to advise me that a case is set for hearing before the municipal court on November 23rd. Well, advise, according to black laws, is a guidance offered by one person, especially a lawyer, to another. A notice of a drawing or a draft for good or services. So you see, money. This advice you are attempting to give me, are you offering me guidance, or are you preparing a drawing or a draft for a valuable security instrument? 2. I did not agree, nor did I give consent to any such hearing. Would you please provide your proof of claim that I have agreed and consented to the adjudication? 3. You state, if I fail to report for the trial, that the proceedings may, the word may, allow me to be tried and judgment to be rendered by default. Black laws state that a report means a formal or oral written presentation of acts or recommendation for action. So are you saying that if I do not make a formal, oral, or written presentation, that you may proceed? This sounds funny, because in order for me to report, I would have to already be present at the place of trial, and already have agreed to the adjudication process, so that I may now report. The word report here is referring to an action that would transpire after the case was already being heard. Black laws state that may means to be permitted, to be a possibility. Loosely is required to, shall, or when must. You state that you may proceed without me, my agreement, consent, or presence, are you using this term in an imperative like shall or will? We will proceed without you? Or are you using this word loosely, without the obligation to action? For me, adjudication means the legal process of resolving a dispute, the process of judicially deciding a case, a judgment. So, these are my questions to you now. Who is the injured party in this case? Prior to me agreeing or giving my consent to your adjudication process, would you please provide me the documentation of the injured party and what loss and damage has been caused? 2. Are you claiming that I will receive a fair and impartial trial with this notice that invites me to attend? Are you aware that the court judge at your trial, that you are inviting me to attend, and the police officer and the court clerk all work for the same party, that being the legal person, Mercier? Do you agree that if you continue to try and place me in a position where my rights, according to Canadian Charter, are being violated, I do indeed have recourse against all those involved? Do you agree that according to the operation of law, acts and regulations, it is a notice of determination sent to an alleged defendant from the SAQ that is the official form of operation to suspend the privileges and rights under a driver's permit, and no other form of operation is valid to declare said privileges suspended? So I'm going to put this notice into their hands and I'm going to send it to them officially. And if they continue to push the case with my girlfriend, I'm going to keep my eyes open and I'm going to put a human rights violation charge against them. Because they are not going to proceed in an impartial way. There's no way that if my girlfriend, in the form of her legal person, shows up in that courtroom, that she would get a fair and impartial trial. Because you got a judge who works for the city, you got a cop who works for the city, and you got the city pressing charges. Those are all three against one. That's not impartial. Now, apart from that, those are fictions that they're trying to call a natural woman or a human or a woman to court, which they have no business doing. Now, the city is only doing this, I gather, because they're pissed off over the fact that I'm exercising my rights as a man here in Chattagay. And there's a couple of other people who are doing it also. We haven't created any trouble with Chattagay up until now, I guess you can say, because they're breaking our human rights here in Chattagay. There's so much corruption that's going on, it's not even funny. Anyways, back to the stories. So Chattagay contacts, the mayor's office contacts the SAQ on October 19th. And the SAQ sends them a paper, a notice signed by a man who works for them, an agent, and says that on the day that my girlfriend was pulled over, that she hadn't paid for her driver's permit, like the process of the payment hadn't gone through yet. Well, that's what we were claiming all the time. So now they sent that copy of that paperwork to me. So basically trying to stand on the fact that some guy in the SAQ said that she hadn't paid her payment as of that date, and then that's why they have a right to give her a ticket. But you only lose your right, or you're suspended and your privileges are no more good when the SAQ officially sends you a letter. So their whole case that they're building on is just a bunch of crap, and they know it. It's just to try and bother me and tangle me up, which doesn't really tangle me up. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm looking for human rights violations now. I thank you for the invitation to the court in Chattagay. I appreciate it. I thank you for inviting my girlfriend into a situation where all of her rights will be violated by Mercier, by 3 agents, and probably more. And I thank you for what we will do afterwards.